Robbie St. John, the William Campbell Generals, they're seeded third in Region B, Division 1. They've got to knock off Altavista to move on to Thursday night, where they'll take on Luray or Cumberland. Coach St. John joined me for an interview that's going to air on the pregame show on 105.5 KD Country. We also break down some other teams that are still playing and more on the Sports Buffet podcast. William Campbell and Altavista, all for regional semifinal berth against the winner of Luray and Cumberland. Talking to the head coach of the Generals, Coach Robbie St. John. And Coach, first off, when you saw Altavista as the matchup, obviously you're glad to just still be playing, but tell me your thoughts when you saw the Colonels as your first round opponent.
It's some mixed emotions. On the one hand, we don't have to go out and scout. It's a team we're familiar with. It's a rivalry, so you don't have to worry about getting your kids up for it. And I'd come early to get your tickets if I have a feeling there's going to be a whole lot of people there. And on the other hand, when you get out of district and you move on to region, there's part of you that really wants to play someone that you haven't played yet. The draws work out how they work out. You have to take one game at a time. But there was a part of us who wanted to see how we matched up against other teams another round.
And how much of it, too, is obviously, from a district perspective, you want your district to do well. Obviously, you want to do well first, but kind of stinks that one of the Dogwoods' better teams is going to be going home tonight.
Yeah, and there's really no way around that. And I think that the three Dogwood teams, even Nelson, I think as an 8 seed is going to be very dangerous for Amelia just the way that matches up. I feel like that if the circumstances were different, that the next round could have had 3 Dogwood teams still in it. So, just this year, that's how it's going to work out. And hopefully, after tomorrow night, the ones that are left will represent the Dogwood best way they can.
When you guys took on Altavista the last time, which was in Altavista, what went wrong?
We had a situation where we had 2 starters who were being sent for discipline reasons. The guys who have stepped up since then were still coming into their roles. And I think we're still in the mindset of playing the Altavista team that we played early in the season. So on the other side of that, you have a team at home who is playing much better, hit on all cylinders, and we the game plan that we brought into that game just did not work out for us like we thought it would.
Talk about how important it is to respect Altavista, but at the same time not fear them.
Well, it starts with the tradition, and the coach has been there for a while, and knowing that no matter what happens tomorrow night, or tonight, I'm sorry, that they're not going to ever be out of the game. But our kids know them well. I think there's a comfortability level there. It's not a matter of being afraid of them. It's just a matter of realizing where they're strong and trying to take advantage of the spots they have that are weak.
Once we hit the district tournament, did you see your team's mindset or, just their demeanor or anything change at all? And do you want it to change or do you want it to kind of stay the same?
No, I felt like that we went into the district tournament just kind of a continuation of what our goal was for the season. We wanted to play for the district championship. We wanted to host the region. We want to put ourselves in the best possible scenario to make it to Richmond. Those are the 3 goals, and right now we've hit 2 of those goals. But our kids were very confident in our first round matchup, and loved playing at home, so that carried over second round, and then we just kind of ran into the buzzsaw that is Dan River this year. So
I think everybody knows, obviously, Maxie Cruz is a stud for you guys. But tell me, aside from Maxie, who else has kind of got to step up and play well in order for you guys to get a W?
Ozell Ewell, who missed our last game, has been averaging close to 20 points a game on the second half of the season. And I think a lot of people see him as just an outside threat, and he's getting a lot more of his points going to the basket, which helps us I think Colby Harrison at our point guard position has to have a game that keeps us in the flow of what we do without turning the ball over. And we've got a couple of post players that no one really thinks about. Damian Lockett and Dave Daniel, both of them. I think if they can just give us hit their averages, I think we'll be okay.
You pretty much know what Altavista is going to do. They're not going to change things up on you. With that being said, how hard are they to prepare for?
Preparing for their system doesn't make it hard. It's more just preparing your kids to understand that because of the discipline, because of their belief in what they do, that it's going to be hard for us to dictate the tempo that we like to play, because they're not going to get up and run up and down the floor with us. So just, it's more you really preach maximizing your possession in each game, and maximizing, especially the defensive end. If you limit your breakdowns and you maximize your possessions, you're in for a good night.
Final thing for you, Coach, as always, appreciate your time. Best of luck against the Colonels. Give me 2 or 3 things in closing that you guys have to do to get the W and move on to the regional semis.
I think we've got to work inside out on the offense. You can't settle for jump shots early. I think it's going to be very important that we stay true to our defense, not allow penetration, not allow any high post entries. And I think we just got to make free throws. That's the games that we've had that have been close are games where we're shooting 50% from the free throw line. The games that we've been successful and been able to take a break are the games that we shoot around 70. So I think we just have to keep getting to the line. I think we have to knock those free throws down when we get there.
Let's talk about some other Dogwood teams still in real quick. Obviously, Nelson County is in your division. You kind of touched on it. You think they could give Amelia some fits a little bit. Why do you give me some reasons to support your statement there?
Amelia's a team much like us that likes to get up and down the floor. The biggest difference is that Amelia really hangs their hat on their outside shooting. They don't have a great post presence, and that really works into the favor of Nelson. They're familiar with each other. Nelson went there last year for the first round, so their kids aren't going to be, they're not going to walk into the gym wide-eyed and afraid of Amelia just because they're a number 1 seed. And Nelson's got an incredible point guard, and he's got guys that know their roles around him, and they've been dangerous all year. The games that they've won, they're hitting on all cylinders. It seems like the games they lose, they're still right there in the game. So I think that's going to be a much closer game than people expect.
What specifically impresses you about Pickett?
He just, well, first of all, unless you watch him shoot the ball from outside, you would never know what hand he is. He can go either way. He's very explosive first step. He plays through contact very well, which is hard to teach a young kid. And he's a little longer than you would initially think. But one of the things that I think is great about him, when he attacks the rim, he keeps the ball high, so he's able to get it to the rim quicker. There's not a lot of, we have a lot of kids that will dribble low and keep the ball around their waist when they go to take off the floor, and you get a lot of times the ball gets battered around on the way up, or they lose it on the way up. And he does a really good job keeping it between chest and chin every time he leaves the floor.
You won't have to see Dan River again. I'm sure you're just really broken up about the fact that you won't get another shot at the Wildcats. What makes Dan River so good?
They're long and they're deep, and I think, I'm not sure talent-wise on paper they're as good as in the past, but what makes them a better team is that they really do believe that their defense is going to give them offense. Whereas in the past, I think that's been preached, but it hasn't always been the case. This year's team is they're really talented as far as guys who want to get after it. They're jumping in the passing lanes. If you beat one guy, there's 2 guys waiting for you. They rotate very well out of their trap. and they've got 5 guys that understand that once they have the ball, all 5 of them are trying to get to the rim, and you just have to be prepared for that over and over and over again.
What did you see out of them when you played at their place the first time and you got up on them pretty big? Because obviously they had a great second half. What did you see out of them that kind of in that first part of the game kind of worried you of, wow, this one's not over yet?
I knew with Davis, the point guard, the way he is able to create, I felt like the beginning of the game, they did a lot more standing around and kind of watching him. And that's, you are very fortunate if you can get them to do that. The thing that I noticed the last 2 times we played them is not only are they moving so well without the ball, but they're always looking to make the extra pass. So instead of taking a shot that a kid has one step, they're making another pass where a kid is just completely wide open. And they're just, on the offensive end, they play with such great confidence. And I think a part of that is because the guy shooting it realizes that there's going to be 4 guys crashing the glass, so the pressure is not all that on to make the shot as much as to give someone else an opportunity to clean it up. The adjustments they made against us were, there's a lot of times where when a shot goes up, they're sending 2 guys back to make sure that we can't get in transition, and I just think that was really smart on their part, but it was hard for us to figure out when they were doing that and when they weren't. So, it just kind of kept you off balance.
And finally, on Dan River, what makes Trey Edmonds so special in your mind?
His motor. I mean, Trey's a freak athletically, and I think people will really get a true sense of that when he's at the next level playing football. But his motor just, he has no quit in him. He is a kid that makes a shot underneath the basket on one end and then breaks up transition when you quickly get it in on the other. And I think his teammates really feed off of his energy. But the other thing that I noticed is that he plays the game very unselfishly. He's very quick to pick his teammates up. He's just a great leader. And when you have, Davison's situation where I think they're probably only playing 8 kids in their rotation until they get up, and all the other 7 kids are really looking to his example and feeding off of him.